What's up, everybody? This is Sunko, the Korean bro, and today is 2022, February 23rd, and let me talk to you about what's been up with me lately. Nothing's new, of course. I've been busy, going to work, doing workout, and doing the stuff that I've been doing, doing YouTube live and analyzing some of the stocks and coding software. mm, because my main job is to do programming. Uh, and like uh, in terms of stock trend these days, um, the beginning of this year up until now, it's been all reddish. All are like mm, not upward trend. It's like a downward trend. And I really wonder what happened today. And let's see what we can find. Now the website that I'm gonna use is yahoofinance.com. Hmm. Let's see. Uh Today as well, probably because of interest rate the Fed had been discussing. Mm. Uh, Tonight, a Neo is 6% down today. It's going down, 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 and not only Neo but also a lot of the other stocks are also going down. Mm. Uh, yeah, once Pal Interactive was like 158, but now it's like 28, which is surprising because I mean like the gap between all-time high and now is huge, right? It's not just like 4% down or anything. It's like more than half down. So um, it's a good bargain, right? And what do we have tonight? Upstart Holdings. It's also 120 now. Hmm. It was once 390. Oh. The Children's Place. Marco Libre went down 5% too. Airbnb 5% down. The Children's Place is also 5% down too. And Seals down 5% down. Popmatic 6% down. Popmatic. And 7% down by Wallblocks. 5% up by Mobile Telesystem Public. Joint stock Fever International. Ego went down by 9%. What else do we have? 5% down Digital Turbine and Palantir Technologies 4% down. 5% down EPAM Systems, 6% down. Coinbase Global 6% down. Nothing seems new. Markforged Holding Corporation went down by 12%. 12% and 5% up. Mobile Telesystem Public. Eve go 9% down. Wallbox 8% down. Home Depot Skills Fubo TV 4% down again. Okay. Roku went up by 8%. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's go through articles. Okay. Biden sets aside $450 million to unclog U.S. ports. Russia-Ukraine may stir dreaded stagflation beast from slumber. AMD is now worth more than rival Intel. Home improvement chain Lowe's raises annual sales forecast. Too strong by stocks with at least 8% dividend yield. S&P 500 Lowe's first correction in 2 years as Russian-Ukraine conflict escalates. The S&P 500 just entered a correction. Here's what history says happened next. Waiting for the perfect moment may not be the best strategy. 3 things investors should do right now as Ukraine-Russia crisis escalates. Don't count on lucid earnings to help the stock, says Morgan Stanley. Zomato's falling stock price shouldn't stifle Swiggy's appetite for an IPO. What's on Bank of America's tech stock list? The Fed is making big changes. How they will play out in the housing market. Dow Jones dives right into this as Putin ramps up Ukraine pressure. Funds are buying these 4 growth stocks. Tip ranks perfect 10 list. These 3 stocks tick all the boxes. Palantir simply isn't palatable stock even after its big decline. Okay. Palo Alto stock rises as next-gen product growth drives earning beats. The one question to ask yourself about your 401k when stock indexes are dropping. Fubo TV stock, a focus on the long owl. AMD value gets closer to $190 billion, climbing back above Intel. These are the 5 best EV stocks to buy and watch now. Reddit's retail investors are bullish on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Every market is oversold. Wall Street bulls on Ukraine crisis. Zuckerberg gets kicked out of the billionaires' top 10 club. An obscure corner of Wall Street is making billions trading inflation. The Russia issue is hurting the stock market. How things could get worse. Russia-Ukraine conflict is a worry, but this is still the biggest threat for stock investors. That's JP Morgan. U.S. market fallout from Russia-Ukraine strife may be brief, some strategists say. Kramer's Mad Money recap 2 second, 20-second, Cisco Systems, Walmart. Autumn adds raft of banks to IPO of $18 billion food unit. Tech investors need to brace for impact as declines continue. Home Depot leads list of 20 worst performers in the S&P 500 on Tuesday. Buffett doesn't like crypto. Invest in a firm exposed to Bitcoin. JP Morgan likes value stocks better than growth stocks. Okay, that's it. Let's read this one by one. Okay, AMD is now worth more than rival Intel. AMD. Score another notable win for chip giant AMD against its heated rival Intel. AMD's market cap currently stands at $188 billion after shares rose nearly 2% in today's session. Intel's market cap is $182 billion. That March the second time in a week AMD's market value has climbed above Intel. The first time it happened was a week ago. Followers of this battle may not be surprised to see this one happen and seeing it continue from here. For several reasons. First, AMD has been winning the battle on Wall Street for sexier investment thesis. Hmm. AMD last week closed on its $35 billion acquisition for Xilinx. Hmm. And continue to see AMD well positioned with continued PC data center market share gains, GM strength with technology transitions, said Mizuho securities analyst Vivek Rakesh. AMD is now worth more than rival Intel. Two strong buy stocks with at least 8% dividend yield. What to make of the situation in Eastern Europe? Russia has massed forces on the Ukraine border and recognized two adjacent Ukraine provinces, both with ethnic Russian population majorities as independent. The U.S. has matched this bellicosity with saber rattling of its own, although the Biden administration has made it clear that it will oppose Russian moves with economic sanctions rather than force. The result, a geopolitical match that is threatening stability from Moscow to Washington and all points in between. Wall Street giant Goldman Sachs has added some fuel to investor concerns, making public its stance a market fortune should an open conflict. When markets and futures are uncertain and volatility is high, the logical portfolio moves into high yield dividend payers. These are the classic defensive plays, giving investors a dual path toward returns from both the share appreciation and the dividend payments. Bearing this in mind, we use the T-Branch database to zero in on two stocks that are showing high dividend yields on the order of 8% or more. Each stock also holds a strong buy consensus rating. Let's see what makes them so attractive to Wall Street analysts. KKR Real Estate Finance Trust. And the next one we have is, and now we'll turn to another REIT, Allenton Financial. Both of them are financial related company. The S&P 500 just entered the correction. Here's what history says happened next. Stocks were crushed Tuesday, sending the S&P 500 index XPA minus 1% into correction territory. It might just be time to buy for investors with a fairly longer term time horizon. Tuesday, all three major indexes fell more than 1%. They came as Russia has sent troops into Ukraine, signifying the country's desire to accumulate power. Markets understand that Western countries may impose sanctions on Russian oil, though President Joe Biden didn't announce those moves in his Tuesday speech. If those sanctions do come to fruition, the global supply of oil would drop, sending the price higher. That could hurt consumer already dealing with high inflation. Tuesday decline sent the uh, S&P 500 into correction territory, defined as a 10% drop from a recent high. The latest was seen in early January for the index. To be sure, most of the correction has been on the back of tighter Federal Reserve monetary policy. The Fed is expected to lift interest rates several times this year to stave off the high inflation, a move that would drag economic growth down. Plus, the higher bond yields that the expected change in policy has brought on reduces the value of future profits, sending stock valuations lower. Stocks do tend to perform well just after they enter correction territory. The average S&P 500 gained for the 12 months following a close into correction territory is 9.3%, dating back to 1998. The point is that the chances are high that the stock market would do just fine over the next years or so if we aren't headed for a recession soon. Hopefully, this correction looks more like the kind that kick-starts advancing markets. The Russia-related economic risk and the Fed's tighter policy are what has the market down. Investors still need to see if there will be sanctions, if higher oil prices even put a large dent into consumer spending, how many times the Fed will hike rates, and what the economic impact will be. Waiting for the perfect moment may not be the best strategy. Three things investors should do right now as the Ukraine Russia crisis escalates. What are three things the investors should do? Uh, okay. What are three habits? Americans woke up after 3-day weekend to more market turmoil as the Ukraine Russian crisis escalates. In many ways, it was a reply of what investors have seen with the Dow Jones Industrial Average and also Composite in recent months, another major disruption to global stock markets. Uh, Take a lesson from March 2020. The most important advice, according to McBride, is literally to do nothing and don't panic. And here's far from the only financial expert to suggest it. Typically, in situations where the stock market is in a slump or where it's behaving erratically, uh, the best course of action is often to just leave your money where it's at, said Jacob Channel, senior economic analyst at Leading Tree. Okay, never sell in a loss. For people who are invested in index funds or stable companies, in all likelihood, their investments will rebound. The best course of action is often to just leave your money where it's at. Volatility and corrections are a normal part of investing in the markets. Hmm. Said Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate.com. With interest rates poised to rise this year, and the Fed tightening of what has been very loose accommodations for economy and markets, the returns won't come as easy as they have in the past 18 months or so. Review your investment plan. For most investors, the money they have in the market, either through retirement accounts or individual investments, is intended for long-term purposes. So short-term fluctuations shouldn't change one strategy's whole lot. Still, financial experts said this is a good time to review things to make sure your money is working for you. Multiple financial planners suggested rebalancing your portfolio. A market downturn is a great opportunity to look at your investments to see if they still reflect your target allocation. It's natural to see your portfolio allocation drift when stocks are falling and bonds are rising. Getting back on target is key. Doing this means you will be selling what's high and buying what's low, said Mark Zay, executive director of Westmid Financial. Now is a good time to review the diversity of one's portfolio. Are you too geared toward growth funds? Do you have exposure to emerging markets? Put your cash to work. A common aphorism among financial wizards is to buy the dip. In other words, think of the stock market being discounted right now. maybe a time to buy into the market while it is on sale. Hmm. Said Charles B. Shells, Director of Planning and Chief. If you have extra money that you can invest, do not sweat the timing too much. You likely won't catch the market at its best rock bottom price. So if you want to invest during a downturn, waiting for the perfect moment may not be the best strategy, said Alan Benson, investing spokesperson at personal finance website NerdWallet. Hmm. In the meantime, Ukraine Russian conflict may get worse before it gets better. Sonia Mack told CNBC on Tuesday that the risk of a full-scale invasion by Russia is very, very high, and said the slow annexation of Ukraine has been going on for 8 years. That is the danger at this point. That the so-called recognition of independent regions in Ukraine is just an excuse to enter with even more military force than he has already done so to this point, and then incorporate those territories into the Russian Federation, thereby annexing them, he said. Closer look at how the provider of data analytics software is growing its revenue gives reason for concern. Palo Alto Networks. Okay, let's look at the articles about Palo Alto Networks. Okay, I can read this. In some cases, it doesn't allow me to read it unless I subscribe it now, but I can read this. Okay, let's do it right anyway. Palo Alto Networks reported January quarter earnings and revenue Tuesday that topped Wall Street targets. Stock climbed as guidance came in above expectations. Above expectations, the cybersecurity company reported fiscal second quarter earnings after the market close. Climbed 6.3% to near 505.50 and extended trading on the stock market today. Palo Alto said profit rose 12% to $1.74 per share on an adjusted basis. Solid relative strength rating. Overall positive. Five EV stocks that articles recommend. Okay, Tesla, Li Auto, Global's X Lithium and Battery Technology ETF, BYD, XPeng. EV stocks have multiplied in Tesla's wake, and as electric cars look to go mainstream, but not all are created equal. Some core stocks are more ready than others for an EV future. Here are the top-rated electric vehicle markets: Tesla, Li Auto. Companies with two important characteristics generally make the best candidates for stocks to buy and watch, according to Keynes Limit guidelines. First, they need strong track records of earnings growth. Second, the stock should be showing elements of market outperformance and be shaping bullish in chart patterns. Mm. But most of the new EV stocks have neither. They include Fisker, Canoo, Faraday Future, Lowertown, Zosh. In fact, many of these EV startups aren't producing or delivering electric vehicles yet. However, two startups have began selling their first electric vehicles, bringing in revenue. Lucid Motors began deliveries of the Lucid Air, a luxury electric sedan. On October 30, Rivian Automotive has also started delivering the R1T, an electric pickup. Meanwhile, Chinese EV stocks like NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto, NIO was a Chinese company, okay, sell tons of thousands of vehicles but remain unprofitable for now. Then there are legacy auto giants like General Motors, Ford, and Chinese BYD that are transforming into electric vehicle powerhouses. Ferrari plans to launch its first all-electric supercar in 2025, joining the ranks of EV stocks after resisting the shift to electric vehicle for decades. Mm. Battery stocks, charging stocks, EV suppliers. The growing universe of EV stocks doesn't end with car makers. A constellation of other companies provides car batteries, car charging stations, yes, electric motors, and other EV associated products. Among them are EV charging networks, ChargePoint, EVgo, Blink Charging, and Wallbox. Okay, EV charging networks are Wallbox, EVgo, and ChargePoint, Blink. Hmm. They're all EV companies. Helion is developing electric powertrains for big trucks as well as powertrains that can be compatible with renewable natural gas and hydrogen fuel cells. Romeo Power, Technology ETF, and Magna. Hmm. And let's see what we have here. Li Auto Stock Lithium ETF, BYD, Xpeng EV lineup. Hmm. Every market is always Wall Street bullish on Ukraine crisis. Wall Street strategists bullish before Russia's military build-up near Ukraine's border are mostly sticking to their view that stock markets can weather Europe's brewing security crisis for now, at least. Hmm. Cisco Systems and Walmart. What does he say about Cisco? Okay, why are investors always so negative? That was the question Jim Cramer offered his Mad Money reviewers Tuesday after another wave of selling on Wall Street spurred by the development in the Russian-Ukraine crisis. Hmm. Drag on for months. Investors need to have a plan, a shopping list, and cash to buy stocks on sale. Need to have a plan, a shopping list, and cash to buy stocks on sale. What? Make no mistake, Russian President Vladimir Putin is a bad guy. Kramer told reviewers, but wars don't happen overnight, and this conflict could drag on for months. That's why investors need to treat every sell-off as a learning experience, not simply use them as an excuse to panic. Sell-offs are when the market puts their favorite stocks on sale, Kramer said. Hmm. That means investors need to have their shopping list ready with the prices they're willing to pay. If your stocks reach those prices, don't panic, just buy. If they don't reach your targets, no problem, just be patient. Kramer recommended stocks of companies that just reported earnings as they are the least likely to surprise you. Both Cisco Systems and Walmart reported last week, and both are now well off their highs. Cisco trades for just 16 times earnings with a 2.7% yield. Past 3.5 years rebuilding its platform from scratch and now has the ability to detect and stop attacks as they happen, rather than weeks or months after they've occurred. More relevant than ever, Aurora added, as nations, companies, and hacker groups are all probing for weaknesses they can exploit. Companies have to keep their stuff safe, he said, and that means making security a priority, especially as the complexity of our technology grows. Cultural innovation. Some tech investors have witnessed catastrophic or even nightmarish losses as flagship companies like Meta and Roblox see the market values collapse. Stocks have been bleeding in 2022. Share prices of some companies touted as winners in the so-called metaverse have more than halved in some cases. The sell-off also comes at a time when the Nasdaq Composite Index has formed a death cross chart pattern. Beautiful expression. Meaning its 50-day moving average has dropped below its 200-day moving average. The Nasdaq already has slid 16% from its November 19 closing high. 40% still far this year. As candidates, they can benefit from growing adoption of the metaverse concept. The metaverse is described to us as a virtual world in which we will interact with each other. Avatars in using virtual reality headsets and other technological tools. Okay, one last article and I'm done. Okay. Hmm. Let's read about Virgin Galactic stock. I read about this company before. Hmm. Its motto is to send people at this planet and send people to the world afar. Hmm. Shares of Virgin Galactic are on the rise after space tourism pioneer said it was still on track to start taking people to the edge of space later this year. Stock was up 4.2% in after hours trading to about $8.15 a share. The stock dropped 6.9% in regular trading Tuesday. It was a red day for the broader stock indexes. Timeline for the start of its commercial operations hadn't changed and was still expected to start in the fourth quarter of 2022. Starting up commercial space tourism flights hasn't been easy for Galactic. In late 2021, shares of Richard Branson's company tumbled after Galactic said commercial operations will be delayed because of an issue related to the strength of the materials it uses in its spacecraft. The Lactate shares rose almost 32% a week ago when the company announced it would open up a reservation window for buying tickets on coming space flights. Despite the huge Tuesday stock jump, shares finished this week down 4 cents a share. Hit the buy button on these three oversold tech stocks. China blasts US over approach to Ukraine crisis. It's time to shut the door on a Massinet International. Pfizer stock is ready to be added to your portfolio. The purely technical Russian oil reason oil will hit $122. Four best 5G stocks to invest in. Salesforce, Adobe, and Meta platforms. Investors have been more reluctant to hit the buy button of late. The most recent market downturn has been reason to beware the deep rather than buy the deep. As Russia-Ukraine plot thickens and inflation rears its ugly head in fourth quarter earnings reports, stocks continue to dig a deeper hole in 2022. The technology sector has been especially hard hit due to its lofty valuations and ongoing supply chain disruptions. Uh, has gone from bad to worse since it reported disappointing fourth quarter results that sent shivers through the technology sector. After 10 straight years of gains, Adobe finds itself in unfamiliar territory, down 22% year to date, with the streak of green in jeopardy and the daily RSI is 16. Investors have a chance to ring in on what is perhaps nation's best run software business. Salesforce, Adobe, Meta platforms. Adobe, and what else was it? Adobe and Salesforce.com. Okay. Extra ones are Adobe and Meta platforms and Salesforce.com. Salesforce.com. Okay, this is it for today. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Oh, okay. Oh, one last article. Four best come on. I cannot read this unless I subscribe this channel, which is the reason I'm not going to read it. Okay, this is it, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.